Welcome back to the Deep Life. If you guys have been listening to the show, you probably know that I am a huge proponent of the abilities of the human body and what we're capable of. And Elise is too, and that's why we are really excited to speak with our guest today, Csongor Daniel. Csongor is not only a bioenergy healer, but he's also an author and a teacher who promotes the idea that we are all capable of this energy healing and healing not just ourselves but others, which is amazing. And I'm so excited to dive into this. Csongor, welcome to the Deep Life.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's jump right into bioenergy healing. And what is it for our guest?
I like that you started with our abilities to heal ourselves and others. I have to remind you that bleeding stopped before Band-Aids were discovered, right?
I love that.
So and colds and the flu also stopped before any other medication was discovered. So many things that we take today just make our lives a little bit less miserable while we're having those symptoms. But in essence, our bodies are the one that heal ourselves. That's when everything is ideal, of course. So we were made to self-preserve and self-heal in many ways. Of course, it takes the right fuel, it takes the right thoughts, and many other things that I outlined in my book, what influences this energy. But what is the energy itself? That's the big question. Many times in the past, we would have seen healers, work on someone without even touching them. How is that possible? Well, first of all, let me remind you that right now we're connected wirelessly somehow, and we all have the little gizmos in our pockets that are connected somehow, yet we don't see those wires or connections, right? So we know that today there are thousands of frequencies that go through us and that surround us, and everything vibrates in the universe. Everything is in a constant movement in the universe. Now, if we look at what we are made of, it kind of appears solid, right? Yet flexible, and we know that deep inside it's about 70% water. Now, if I would start jumping around here, would you hear the water splashing? Of course not. It's contained in the trillions of cells. So if we would look at one individual cell, and we would just see a balloon filled with water. Now we know that there's like 5,000 different substances in it, including our DNA and many other things. But let's just assume it's water, and we jump inside and we go deep and we find some molecules. Now we would look for hydrogen and oxygen molecules in this case, which would be gases now. Now we would jump into these substances that are, gaseous, like we're getting into thinner air now. And we go deep inside into the atom. And this is where everybody needs to open their minds a little bit, but it's the 21st century, so it should be quite easy. We know the solar system, there's the sun and there's planets traveling around it on certain distances. It's quite similar to the atomic structure. Now, we also know that, everything that we saw on the teacher's desk, it was wrong. The sun was this big, and then the wires were hanging, the planets. So in reality, if you could squeeze the sun to the size of a pea, then Pluto would be about 1.5 miles away, and it would be the size of a bacteria. Yet it would still circle around. Somehow there's this gravity holding them together. In the atom, it's similarly drastic. If we would magnify that atom, let's say the nucleus, to be the size of a pea, or even better off a pinhead, and you stick it in the middle of a stadium, the closest electron would be outside the stadium, outside the bleachers somewhere. Now, unlike the planets, this little electron travels around so fast, it's very frisky. At any given moment, it could be anywhere. And so if we could see it with naked eyes, we would see a giant ball the size of a stadium. Yet deep inside, there's nothing, practically nothing. There's a little bit of that nucleus which carries all the weight, and then that little frisky thing running around. Then you put it together with another one, just like that, and another one, and another one, and all these empty stadiums, and all of a sudden you end up with this. Yet, so deep inside, we know that even though this is kind of solid, 99.9999999% of this is empty space. And it's just the way it's put together. This desk is similarly put together, well, a little bit differently. And to change this desk's energy, we would have to burn it or somehow chemically change it. Everything else that is inanimate is similar. They all have energy, they all have vibration. Our vibration, just like other living beings, changes all the time with different circumstances. So, in our case, it depends what we eat, what we drink, what we breathe, how we think, what people we're hanging with, cosmic radiation, underground caves. It's a slew of things that will change it. And in essence, when you put together all these atoms, you have an energy field that goes basically invisible around you, roughly as far as you can reach. So that little atom has an electromagnetic field around it. Put it together and you get a big one like this. It's kind of like an egg shape around you, kind of like the shield around the spaceship Enterprise. Like, hey, Scotty, how's the shield? Yeah, it's all good. We're protected, and when the shield goes weak, that's when outer influences can damage our health, or we can ourselves damage our own health, which is most of the time the case. And so as a goal, one of the goals would be to keep that shield thick. And also, just like everything in the universe, this also constantly moves. So it's not good if the energy flow stops somewhere. It's kind of like a river when you dam it. Too much water piles up in one area, just like too much energy piles up in one area. So if you have a headache, you actually have just too much energy around your head. I gotta say 95% of the time. And so what do? You pop a pill or something, numb it, or do something else, or you come and see me, and it will take about 2 minutes to get that excess energy off and stop the pain. We still have to find out why you got it, and why the blockage happened and such. But as far as just stopping pain, anybody can do it. Anybody can learn it, within 10 minutes how to do it. My kids were doing it when they were little.
Wow.
Without knowing that it's something special, to them, they just grew up with that. They didn't know pain pills, we would, instead of explaining to them how energy works and, you got to grab it like that. No, these were kids, you hit the elbow, well, you can kiss it, rub it, whatever. These are the natural reactions, right?
Right.
When you rub that elbow, you actually spread the energy that suddenly piles up there from hitting it. So it's your natural instinct to rub it.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. So many people are probably skeptical of your work, but then they bang their elbow and they start rubbing it.
Yes, but it's your instinct, right?
Yeah, it's the first thing you do.
One is to numb the nerve endings, but the other that you didn't know, you were actually spreading that energy away from that area. Now, with kids, it's easier. I just told them, like, okay, we're gonna grab the pain and throw it away. So you got to grab it, physically, and throw it away. And to them, okay, we grab it and throw it away, and that was it. No more pain, and move on. There's no questioning of how that was possible. Why? Because it's a natural thing, and you grew up with it. If your parents were a vegetarian, that was normal for you. If they were, cattle barons, you had beef every day. It was normal to you. It's much of it is in education, and hopefully someday they will teach kids in school how to stop pain or how to eat right, and such. Yeah.
Absolutely. You did such an amazing job, Csongor. Thank you. We've had multiple guests on the show. We talk about energy all the time and how everything is made up of energy, but the visuals that you give relatable to our human body compared to stadiums, like that's really helpful to understand, perhaps because I'm a visual person, but we've never heard someone describe it in that way. So, You seem like you know what you're doing, so I'm really excited to dive even deeper in that. But you're talking about like pain and feeling that, and I can very much understand that. Concentrating all of that energy into one area. Is there a baseline energy that individuals feel?
Well, yes, I mean, that would be, again, if you were just at rest,
Yes,
not thinking about anything, nothing's happening around you, that energy would roughly go as far as you can reach.
sure.
Now, through my course, you learn how to feel this energy, how to see this energy. Neither is important to be able to heal. I
Oh,
have
okay.
to emphasize that, yes.
Interesting.
I like to teach it, and about 90% of people will feel it and see it at their first try. Not necessarily both things. Some people better feel, some people see better. But in essence, just to do the healing, there's a whole system that my teacher started developing, and I added some things to it where you can just learn where to put your hands for what problem and for how long, how to take that excess energy off, and it's like healing for dummies. So it's for the absolute beginner in healing to many healers converted to this method when they learned it. My favorite students are Reiki practitioners who after 20-30 years convert to bioenergy healing because it's just so much more powerful, it's faster, it's more fun, and it's more logical. It's explained in an understandable way.
You literally must have read my mind because I'm thinking, okay, I know a lot of people who practice Reiki. How is this? Is this similar? Is it different? So I'm glad that, yeah, how does it differ?
There are some elements in Reiki that are missing, that are present in this modality. And we have, the emphasis is not just on adding energy and balancing spots, but in essence, we're balancing the entire body each time. So taking off the excess energy, adding where it's missing, we restart the energy flow at the end. So the essence still, when you're done with Reiki and some other methods, you may have done a good job balancing, but the energy flow may still be stuck. And so we have a very good method to restart that, kind of like restarting the river and making it flow again. Extremely powerful, and many things happen very fast. Some people just have simple blocks. Some can extend to complicated things. But everybody's so different. It's very hard to predict how long it would take to work on someone.
Let me talk. So you mentioned before the difference of having like a strong field, and then some people their field gets weaker, and that opens them up to pain and injury and problems.
Yeah.
What can we do to keep our field strong, or what causes it to become weak?
It's a very good question. First, you have to figure out what makes it weak. So let's see, what's the first thing you can't live without?
Oxygen.
I was gonna say
Water.
water.
So
Yeah.
depends, do you breathe in your oxygen somewhere in the Blue Ridge Mountains or somewhere in the middle of Beijing? Or, so that makes already one difference. Number two, water. Can't live without it, right? What kind of water do you drink? Is it from a beautiful spring, cool spring coming out with alkaline water or glacier melt? Or is it from your city water loaded with just about everything? That makes a difference. Food, about food, we can talk for many days. The basic thing that sustains our life. And we still, as humanity, we still haven't learned what is good for us, what is not good for us. It's kind of like feeding cattle when you go to a store. When you see the health food aisle, what does it make the rest of the store?
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be really vigilant, and you have to educate yourself about food. Many people think that they're eating healthy and they're not. You know, if there's anything on the label that you have to read, there's a good chance that it's already not good for you. So basic, get back to the basics. Again, let's not, you know, write this thing, but and also you have to overcome the misconceptions. You know, right now we have this vast information available to us online. You can really find out anything. I had to dig in through libraries and you know, places when I was young, and none of this information was available. But now there's too much information, so you have to sift through and find the right ones. Many misinformation started with marketing. You know, eggs and bacon for breakfast, you know, marketing. Cereal, marketing. Milk does the body good. Remember the mustache? Marketing. Of course it doesn't, but you know, it was marketing. And so you kind of have to sift through that. But as long as you eat organic, alkaline foods, you know, you take care of your all the nutritional intake in a natural way, you should be fine. So keep the toxins out, do a little bit of intermittent fasting, let the body repair itself, let your hormones normalize. The longer you fast, the more your stem cells produce and move around. Of course, by the time you get used to it, like the 50th day, you're dead. No, I'm kidding. You have to know your limits. So everything is in moderation. You know, too little water is bad for you. Too much water can drown you. Too little food, too much food. So everything is in moderation. Salt, oof, you know, we can talk about that a lot. Every doctor will tell you that salt is bad for you. Okay, what is your most important electrolyte in your body? Salt. But it does, the question is good of which kind of salt is good for you. Because we assume salt, white, it's all sodium chloride, but it's not. And in essence, if you look at the cell function, the cell wall, how it lets nutrients in and out, it has to have the right amount of sodium and potassium, the right balance. But one is used up faster than the other. So by the time you lost like 3% of potassium, you lost 90% of the sodium. So in that ratio, for any salt to be healthy, it would have to have like 97% pure sodium chloride. And there's no other question here. Okay, they can talk to me about vitamins, minerals, everything that's in it, and how it came from a magical place. You know, you have to do the study. Again, it's marketing. You know, pink salt looks so good and it's marketed well. But in some cases, it had 30% of potassium chloride. That can be deadly. In some cases, they found quicksilver in it, you know. And the next event, let's say sea salt. It's well advertised, good with minerals. However, where do they collect sea salt? Well, from the sea. Which sea is not polluted nowadays?
Of course.
Where they collect the salt, you know, birds poop there. So of course they have to clean, bleach the salt. So already you're not getting the in the right way. What other salt? If you look at now this mixes with the whole cholesterol myth as well. You know, cholesterol is bad for you. Why? Well, your brain is cholesterol. You know, your body deals with cholesterol. It again depends what you feed it and then the reactions to it. But in essence, you need it. And so where does it become bad? Take the regular table salt, which when you look at the label, it has 42% or 39% sodium chloride. What is the rest of it? It doesn't say. Well, it's sand and silica. Silica is tiny microscopic shards of glass. Now, the salt will obviously dissolve in your body. These microscopic particles may get into your bloodstream. And imagine like these sharp claws going through your blood vessels. Okay. So obviously there's no Band-Aid there, but the body has cholesterol to fix it. So it comes in and, just gently fixes those holes. But then you continue taking the same salt, you will run into the same issues. And then you take the, I don't know, recommended high amounts of calcium because it's good for your bones. And then eventually there will be calcification and narrowing of your blood vessels. It's that simple. So it didn't start with your calcium or your lard that you were putting on, in your meals, but it essentially may have started with salt. So 97% of sodium chloride or above, and you can't go wrong with it. Gee, this went a little bit wrong, but long.
No, this is great. Actually,
Let's
real quick, one follow-up question.
No,
What salt do you use? Like, where do you get your salt?
I use salt that comes from Bosnia. It's called Tuzla, Tuzla, just like the city it comes from. It is mined salt. It comes in giant blocks.
Oh.
It was very interesting. This summer, I was on a motorcycle tour through Europe with my fiance, and we stopped at her father's in Serbia. And he was telling us about his grandfather who had a store. And when they heard the train coming, they would hop on the carriage and go out to unload a giant block of salt, which he would later break and sell in his store. So it's the purest salt that you can find anywhere. Tuzla salt also is very inexpensive. It will cost you like $4 a kilo or something.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I actually.
How do you break it up?
Well, it comes already broken.
Oh, okay. It's like, wait a minute, that would be okay. Okay, gotcha.
No need for that. I actually don't even drink water without salt in it.
Well, we don't, yeah, we typically don't either. Trying to restructure it, obviously. Yes. No, I feel like these, it wasn't necessarily a tangent, but it's very helpful to understand, and you explained it so well, especially tied with the cholesterol, which Dan loves that to debunk the cholesterol myth. So again, like the conversation just flows naturally. I love it, and yeah, we can bring it back. Well, I'm curious actually, because you briefly spoke about headaches, and I feel like this is something that can be relatable to anybody. Everybody in the universe has had a headache, and they can understand that pain. Walk us through kind of like what it is that you do when someone comes to you, with a headache, and possibly you mentioned that we could heal others. Like if Dan had a headache and I knew how to use the modality, like would I be able to heal his, or would he do it on his own, or?
You could heal his head. Yeah. I mean, the method is so fast that, I've stopped headaches like on a city bus way back in college and stuff. I mean, it's so easy, but in essence, if you want to do a full body healing, which is always necessary, every body part is connected. So
Sure.
I can stop that headache, but we would still want later on to restart the entire energy flow and do the right thing. But again, it's all outlined in the book. It's all explained. It's all very, very natural. But jumping back to the headache now, while we were talking about the salt, most of headache, most pain, most inflammations and stuff that happen to us are a side effect of being dehydrated. A lot of people are dehydrated. Of course, if you're a coffee drinker, Coke, all the soft drinks, they dehydrate you. You may not see it, you may not feel it. I've known people who lived on Coke. I've known people who lived on beer, never touched water. I don't know how they lived. Human body is so strong, and it will fight it, but that body won't be happy. A happy body is a hydrated body. But I drink all this water and then I have to pee more. That's usually the answer. Well, you're missing salt. You need the salt to hold on to that water. Without it, it will go through you. Your kidneys constantly struggle to hold on to that salt. You lose it constantly with all the water that you use, water vapor, urine, your sweat. The salt comes out, so you need to give it back. Like the soldiers in the desert, they get salt pills, and it's a must. And how come they need it there and I don't need it here in Florida? I mean, come on. You know? So yes, you do need the salt and you do need to hydrate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So as far as stopping the headaches, it's all about putting your hands on the right place, doing the right thing, or taking the excess energy off. In theory, it's too much energy.
Mm.
Now, if I just put my hands on that area and add energy, I may even increase that pain after a while. But I would mix my own energy with that person's energy field, and then it comes up easy to pull it off and shake it off. And really, it takes a couple of minutes. Now, let's say you're an absolute beginner, your first day, it may take you 5 minutes, you know, but it's still faster than Tylenol. And many times I would question those pain pills as well, because you have to take them with a big glass of water, which eventually would stop your headache anyway. So, or two
Yeah.
glasses of water or whatever, with a little extra salt, and you're done.
That's funny. I never thought of that.
I didn't either.
You know, somebody asked me once, well, how did people deal with headaches, you know, 100 years ago or 200 years ago or so? Well, you know, they didn't have headaches. I mean, they didn't have that many issues. They were not eating artificial foods. They were active. They were out in the fields. They were doing, nobody was overweight. Even if you look back, you know, just before the 70s, nobody was overweight. It's just a modern epidemic, and that's when you need to start thinking what we're eating and you know, the lifestyle and such.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you mentioned something, I think that's really important. I want to jump into this where, say, you know, you're alleviating someone's headache and you're touching them and it's gone, but then you've got to address the other areas in the body where this headache is actually coming from. So in a nutshell, like how does the energy healing that you're doing like affect the whole body in essence?
Well, the final result should be a flowing river.
Okay, yeah, I like the
Well,
analogy.
you know, like the river, it always brings fresh water, the pond may stink.
Mhm.
And so the, you know, the method would be, of course, breathe, drink water, eat right food, blah, blah, blah. Electromagnetic fields also affect you. You know, how long do you spend in an electromagnetic field in front of the computer or TV or such? Other people are electromagnetic, just like we are. That means that they will affect us too. Now, you know, those friends who radiate energy, you can't wait to see them. You know, they enter the room like, woohoo, you know, it lights up. And then you have those other friends, or at least one, who will do the opposite, right? It's part, you know, part of that balance. But you know how that feels and how this energy radiates. So you already know what keeps it wide. It's the bigger the smile, the bigger the energy. The happier you are, the wider your energy. So in essence, obviously, because your mind controls the energy the most, if you think you're happy, you're happy. If you think you're sad, you're sad. It's that simple, right? So that's the biggest control of your energy, of your pain, of the energy flow, of everything. It's your mind. You can exercise a lot, or you exercise very little, you can still be healthy. It's again, comes to the mind. You can be, you know, having a bad day, and you go to the gym and exercise, and all of a sudden you feel better emotionally, right? Or you feel bad physically, and you see a comedy show and you feel a little bit better then, right? So everything is interconnected here, and this energy touches everything. And as long as you keep the flow, everything will be fine. It's and it has to be a normal thing, you know. Your thinking has to be positive the entire time. You know, negative thinking brings the energy in, positive opens it up. So, but how do you stay positive all the time? That's a good question. You know, the world is falling apart. I don't know, gas prices going up. I mean, everything comes in the way, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, whether you're there or not, those things keep going on like that. Everything is Zen. Now, it's your reaction to that Zen that controls everything in you. So if you look out and it's raining, you can go like, oh crap, I can't go play golf, I can't be outside. And you're like, yeah. Or you look outside and it's raining and you go like, whoa, look at that beautiful rain, like finally nice for the grass, and I'll pick up my favorite book, stay inside and whatnot. Now, one got all stressed, the other one all happy. Did either one of them change the weather? No.
Mhm.
So it's your choice to look at things whichever way you want. I chose decades ago that I will be healthy and I will be happy and I will see the positive in everything. Now, at the beginning, if something negative happened, I would look for the positive that attached to it until I found it. Then at one point I realized, look, I'm wasting time, wasting my energy looking for it. It's there. And sometimes you find out right away, sometimes a year later, that you were right. It was there. And so it's a universal law, like the yin and yang, like in quantum physics, positive and negative particles. One doesn't go without the other. So no matter what negative happens, there's something positive attached to it. And if you know it, then it's really not a negative event. It will eventually lead you to something positive or such. So just that very moment, if you think of it as a negative event, then it will weaken your energy. But if you think like, oh, it will bring something positive, this is good, then your energy is fine. And so this is the simple play in your mind. Now, you have to use different words eventually. You have to kind of rephrase things. I had one lady, this is such a good example, I always bring it up. She was at the seminar and she was like, I tried positive thinking, but it didn't work. Okay. So what happened? She says, well, I had a headache. And I said, no headache, no headache, no headache, no headache, no headache. But it didn't stop. So what was wrong in that picture?
Yeah.
No is a negative word. Headache, you reinforce, just say headache, headache, headache. Keep saying it until you get one, So you have to rephrase everything into a positive way. You have to look at things like, okay, headache, what should I say instead? Well, change the path of your brain, kind of do a Tai Chi move with it. You say, with every breath I take, I feel better and better, or such. With every sip of water, I feel better and better. Eventually, you have to convince yourself, that little guy yapping in your mind, or that little girl yapping in your mind. Because sometimes they get obsessive with things, or they get stupid, and you have to stop them a little bit. And once you are aware of everything, you know what one bite will do for you of something, what one sip of something will do to your body, or how you will feel afterwards, or such. We all know these things. Just have to pay more attention to it. And when you pay attention to the energy itself, then other doors open. You look at people in a different way. You feel things in a different way. It's kind of like the Matrix, but it's really not.
Is this trying to think of the way I want to say it. Do you think, obviously, like the positive energy and putting good things into your body and taking care of yourself, is there a certain type of like energetic work or like a specific modality you would recommend to people in addition to positive energy, or just?
Well, yeah, but obviously, you need exercise. Everybody needs exercise. You want to exercise only the muscles you want to keep. That's what I heard. So basically, you want to exercise everything. And I found some modalities like Tai Chi, Qigong, being very, very much into the zone with everything. So you move your body, but you're concentrating on moving the energy itself. And as long as the energy moves, you prevent the formation of obstacles, and thus you keep yourself healthy. So I have a morning routine that I do that's based on that, but it's only like a 3 to 5 minute stretching routine.
Okay.
Move every joint, every muscle. It's on the about section at my on my website, and also many YouTube videos. The goal is to get the body, the joints, the muscles, and the energy moving first thing in the morning. And so you prevent kind of formation of any, just like when you stretch the muscles, you're pretty secure from pulling a muscle, right? And so this gets your body going for the whole day. Now, besides that, I have a Qigong system that I have been following and teaching. I also work out, I ride a bike, I do any sport that's out there available to me. I'm not a top athlete in any way, but I like to maintain my physical strength and keep it the same for the rest of my life if possible.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
It does, and it's interesting to me that, or not just like interesting, I just think it's an interesting point to make, that it's all the things that support our energy field are the things we would naturally think are what's going to support our physical body.
Yes.
We're kind of caught in that paradigm of like.
Yes. Now, of course, when you learn to control your energy, then it supersedes everything.
Right.
So it's the very basic of existence. So, when you eat your food, it turns into thermal and kinetic energy and whatnot. By the time it breaks down to actual energy, that's a long process. And here, boom, the energy is right here. So at that very moment you start a treatment. And I mean, it really doesn't take a long time, although a full bioenergy healing treatment would take like 20 minutes or so.
Wow.
So it's still not long. Sometimes it can be done in much less. When I do long distance healing, I can usually do it in even less time because I'm totally focused. Long distance healing works by me going into a deep meditation, and in that case, visualizing the energy instead of feeling it. So, when you think of someone and the phone rings, right? Or you get a text message right after you thought of someone, we're all connected. And you break it down into frequencies and how the entire Earth is connected like that. It's really nothing new. And you can learn specific methods, including this one, how to work on others when they're at a distance. Since COVID, I think 80% of my work had been long distance healing. More people at distance than one-on-one. I start every day with meditation, and then I write my reports to everyone. So we're not connected online. Again, we're at a better connection wiring, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
The results are amazing. So I mean, I had been doing that for 35 years, but since this restricted times, I just got more into it, and I realized that most people can learn how to do that as well. They are doing it, just not consciously.
Yeah. Well, I'm just really curious. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I'm just being very excited because you're saying that you can visualize the energy, and obviously you feel it to move it during the in-person sessions. Like, I know that I can do that, like us as individuals can do that, but perhaps the listeners who are listening are like, wait, this is really interesting. How do we do it? I've done meditations and I felt my energy in certain areas, doing intense yoga or meditation, breath work, or even just rubbing your hands together and then pulsing. Like I can feel that, like that's the energy, right? I've never visualized it really, unless I maybe.
So let's start with feeling it.
Okay.
Many really simple methods to learn that. Seeing it is a little bit harder over like online like this.
Sure.
But I have good examples of that where we actually caught it with the camera too, so you can see it there as well. It's all available through my website. I also have an online school where we developed 7 videos, each one a lecture about energy healing. And we added the visual special effects to see how you would see the energy or feel it, and how the energy travels, and so on and so forth.
Okay, great. Awesome.
But again, it was something positive that came out of COVID, for instance. My filmmaker cousin was stuck here right when the world stopped. And so what to do? We set up an entire studio and did all of it in a few weeks. And he did the post-production, added special effects. So now it's
talk about spinning the positive there. That's how the universe works. That's awesome.
And I do recommend, people check out the first 2 videos are free, and you can see if this is something for you or not. And other than that, you can, read my book.
Yeah.
Take you a day or so. And
highly recommend.
So, as you said, you read it already. You notice these little QR codes at the bottom.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
Each one takes you to 31 different videos that show you the movements. So if you didn't understand exactly what I was talking about, you can see the videos.
Oh, that's really cool.
So let's try this. You don't have to rub anything.
Okay.
Lift your hands up like this and totally relax them. Now straighten them up like that. I want you to feel the difference between totally relaxed and straight. So there's a little bit of tension in your hands right now, right?
Yeah.
Now with this tension, I want you to grab a basketball or a basketball-sized imaginary ball. Okay, just hold it for a moment, and when you think you have it, give it a little squeeze. Just squeeze it by 1 inch and let your hands back.
Yeah, I feel it
already, right? So as long as you hold that tension, you opened the energy gates of the body. If you put your hand on somebody's shoulder just like this, nothing happens. If you put it on like this with tight hands, you already let the energy go through your hand.
Ah, okay.
Now, while you're holding the ball, just bounce it back and forth a little bit like this. This will really increase that feeling, right? Like playing with 2 magnets.
Yeah.
Yes, literally. That's exactly what it feels like.
So it's just like magnets, yeah. Now bounce closer and closer. There'll be a couple spots where you feel it more or less. You're passing a few layers of this energy. And now come all the way to 1 inch distance. Make your hands flat, fingers straight, just like that. And now start rolling your hands like this. Your arms are relaxed, your hands are tight. Keep doing that until you feel the center of that rotation. Almost like a tiny marble that you're rolling between your hands.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like when you take 2 magnets, let's say the 2 positive sides, and you can't push them together, they go out into a circle. Try it out next time you have a couple magnets in your hands. Okay, now if you increase the distance, you may still feel that connection and that middle rolling. That's exactly where the energy comes out, middle of your palms.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting.
Now come back to the middle, hold it there for a moment, just like that. Now if you start pulling them apart, you'll feel this tension trying to pull them back. Right? Again, like the magnets trying to pull back to the middle, right? And you can make the ball a little bit bigger and then bring it back again, still with tight hands. You'll feel pressure even here.
Yeah, it's actually like hard to do.
Yes. So you
I
can,
feel like I'm using my muscles.
Yeah.
you can technically make your ball grow this way, but in essence, you're just touching your energy at different levels or layers. Okay, so bring it in again. It's probably, if you go all the way in and out, it's going to be almost like a gooey mess, like pushing and pulling and stuff. Yeah. There are many other exercises, up and down your arm or whatnot, but let's try the face here. Bring it to your face. Same tension, about the 1 or 2 inches from your face. Can you feel the heat from your hand?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you feel the heat in your hand from your face?
Yes.
Or a little bit of that pressure, huh? Now, if you go around your eyes, where your sinuses, you may feel a little bit of that heat or pressure coming. If you go around your ears, it can be the same. So this is a little bit of a self-exploration right here at this moment. But if you ever have a headache, look at this move. Tighten your hands, take you around, pull it down, shake your hands off.
Ah.
Again, you cover your entire head, shake it off. You go to the side, shake it off. You go around, shake it off. Point is that if you visualize this energy as kind of gooey, as we talked about, like Jello, think of it as Jello. Too much Jello, pain. You want to take the Jello and get rid of it. And empty this bowl. You have to keep pulling till all of the Jello is gone. And the same way as Jello sticks to your hands, you want to shake this energy off, and so it doesn't pile up there. In the early days when I started energy healing, I had no idea what I was doing. I knew that I could stop pain, but many times I would pick it up, or my hands would hurt. Nobody explained it to me. I didn't know that you have to shake it off or put your hands on the running water or so. Water is very susceptible to the energy, so it's easier with that to take off. Or when you go to spa for a day, you come out, your energy is drained. So that's the way it works.
Yeah. Thank you for walking us through that.
Actually, I just want to add really quick, anybody listening to this, we do also have the video on YouTube if you want to watch for the visuals and to do that and practice.
Yeah.
I recommend everybody try that. That was really powerful.
I
really
have
cool.
never felt the heat from my hand. Like the weather has dropped here in California by I mean, it's not 90 anymore, it's 70, but it's very cool in the house and my nose is pretty chilly. But so I could feel the heat from my nose. It felt so good.
Imagine practicing it every day, how it will feel then.
Yeah.
And imagine how it feels after 35 years of doing it.
I feel like I can see you're glowing.
I mean, it really started when I moved my mom without touching her. Until then, I was just an engineering student, and that was my life. So actually moving people without touching them is the crazy thing in this, not just the healing. But then again, you can get used to that as well, because again, everything is energy, and you can change everything.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I know in the book you mentioned moving like crowds of people and being able to multiple people at once, and martial artists, and that's really cool.
When I was young and cocky, I wanted to show up, and I would move 100 people at the same time or so. It was really wild. But again, the bottom line is you want to learn healing, you want to teach healing, you want it to end up in some sort of healing. I learned after many years, because I thought, well, I set my mind, I will always be healthy. I was always going to be positive, and it worked. But how? I had periods of time when I was a vegetarian. I had periods of time when I wasn't. Periods of time when I was drinking with my buddies in college. Periods of time, now I don't drink or anything. Not that I had an issue. Let's find that out. But it was different, lifestyles, and I never even got the cold or the flu or anything. Remember exactly the last time I went to a doctor with bronchitis at the beginning of college. And ever since I started doing energy healing, nothing happened. My fiance was sleeping next to me with COVID, and nothing. All my life I was sick as a kid, and after that, nothing. I realized over time that while I was working on others, it's not my energy really that I work with. This energy is everywhere. It goes through you as you heal others. That constant flow prevents the formations of obstacles, and thus keeping me healthy. So Muhammad Ali was right when he said that giving is always better than receiving.
I love that.
And that really comes back to like how I started the show. So like we're all so powerful, and I think that there's so many that we attribute to like our own weaknesses. that
Yeah.
it's just literally like we just haven't taken the right steps to keep ourselves healthy, so we don't allow our body to be as amazing as it could be.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as, unfortunately, I believe, in my opinion, today's day and age, I do feel there's a mass awakening of understanding our health and connection to nature and eating the foods that are going to be beneficial for us, our mindset, more people exercising, doing yoga, meditating. Like, we're at this point where, like you said, the world is just in shambles. We're in chaos. We've got nowhere to go, but hopefully up from here. But one of the things that Dan used to say, I feel like he still says it with his clients because he's a personal trainer and holistic lifestyle coach, but people don't typically want to give up these foods or their routine, their jobs, their lifestyles, because they're comfortably uncomfortable. People don't realize how shitty they feel until they begin feeling good. And something as beautiful as this, that we have the power and the capability to really heal ourselves if we're willing to be responsible for that. It's such an empowering mindset, as opposed to, throwing your hands up, be like, oh, I have high cholesterol, diabetes runs in my family, want me. Well, okay, but it's also not helping.
It's always easier to blame others for our problems. And the fact is that nobody can fix you but yourself. So, you can't work out for anybody, right?
Right, exactly.
You either work out or they don't. There's no such thing that they pay you and you work out for them and they feel better. You can't eat right for anybody either. So everybody has to do everything by themselves. Even the king goes to certain places by himself, so, and you find one person on this planet who never had a problem, never had a pain or a toothache or a headache or such. Everybody on this planet has a problem. It's just how we approach that problem.
As we start to wrap up the show now, is there anything we didn't get to that you want to make sure that you say? Anything that you want to leave the audience with?
I think we covered everything. This was really good, and I mean, I'm sure you will post where they can find me.
Yes.
My name is my website, csongordaniel.com, CSONGORDANIEL. It doesn't spell like it sounds. And also they will find links to my online school where you can learn all of this, the links to books, links to a Facebook page where you can join me every Tuesday and Friday for a long distance healing session.
Oh, wow.
Group healing. So, we're not connected like this. You just meditate with me. Think of me for a moment, we're connected, and then think of your own energy and how to improve it. You'll find the instructions for that on that page as well.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out. That sounds really powerful.
Oh my gosh, yes. We will link all of these in the show notes so people can easily find you. And we're just so grateful. Like I said, thank you so much for blending this beautiful kind of big concept, but breaking it down with all of the analogies and the metaphors and the visuals. That's very helpful. And I really highly recommend anybody who's listening to it to go watch the YouTube video and try the exercise that Csongor and let Dan and I go through, because it's fascinating to know, like, that's a part of me. That's me. This is my energy, and I can work with it, and I can heal and feel better and clean it and move it through me. And I'm so excited to kind of, like Dan said, dive more deeply into it and begin doing it almost every day as a ritual practice.
Very cool. Keep practicing.
Yes. Thank you again, Csongor,
so
for
much.
joining.
Thank you for having me.